Welcome to hour number 2, Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along. You can catch the podcast of the show at 989theanswer.com. Listen to it anytime when it's convenient for you. And I like to bring people into the studio from time to time and get a chance to look at them as they tell me why they're doing what they're doing and what motivated them to serve. A lot of people can serve in a lot of different ways. And we're pleased to have with us today Shelby Hunt. Shelby is running for the Republican State Central Committee to represent Licking, Fairfield, and Perry counties. And Shelby, you are not somebody who's a career politician.
No.
You're somebody who's decided to do this. Why?
Well, part of it goes back to the 2019 and 2020.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that was going on at that time, I have written our representative at the time, our U.S. representative, Steve Stivers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
And
Steve Stivers, Mr. Chamber of Commerce.
Right, yes. And needless to say, I was not happy with his middle-of-the-road responses. Part of it was my background. I do have a law enforcement background as well.
Okay.
I spent 12 years in law enforcement, and I had written him and let him know that what happened to Roger Stone. I mean, there was a couple of issues that I wrote him about, but
sure.
When they raided Roger Stone, I was like, I know abuse of power when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was also the time of the Trump impeachments.
Was and
going
COVID and vaccines.
Yes, and all of that.
Yeah, we saw a lot of abuse of power at that particular time.
Right. So it's the long way of saying is that's when I started. I've been politically involved or aware for years. I campaigned for Ronald Reagan before I was able to vote.
There you go.
So, but anyway.
You were a smart young man. A smart young man. You know, the other day I played Reagan's final speech when he left the White House, and you remember this because you remember the narrative about Reagan at the end was that he was
feeble,
not with it, feeble, all that. So I played Reagan's final speech, and how with it, how sharp, how insightful he was, ironically or not. His final speech was about immigration, and immigration is great when people assimilate into the United States, and that's not what we see now. But I played it as a contrast to what we see from Joe Biden now. Your issues on the State Central Committee are more local, more targeted. And one of the things I want to do as we work toward the March 19th primary, Shelby, is make people aware of who people are who are running, mm-hmm. what the jobs are they are running for. Because the worst thing that can happen is you walk in, you get a ballot, and you go, I have no idea who this is. So let's start with, what does the Republican State Central Committee do?
Okay. Well, just to finish up with that, that's what got me is that I decided to primary Steve Stivers in 2019 and had no really experience or even how the inner workings worked.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about Central Committee. So that brings us.
Okay.
We'll fast forward up to this point.
Because one of the things the State Central Committee does, and people are going to get these cards in the mail as we get closer to March 19th with, hey, this is who the fill-in-the-blank county endorses for office across the board in the Republican Party. How does that list get made?
Well, part of it is that at the State Central Committee level also is that we're to be recruiting and vetting candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing that I'm seeing is that what I want to bring to the table and what Jake Warner, who is the current seat holder, continue his legacy. Our styles may be different, but the outcome is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's holding them accountable and defining what it means to be a Republican.
You can find out more about Shelby Hunt's run to represent Licking, Fairfield, and Perry counties on the Republican State Central Committee in the Republican State Central Committee by going to his website, hunt4ohio.org, hunt4ohio.org. It is not the number 4. It is actually the word 4 spelled out, Hunt, F-O-R, hunt4ohio.org, and his Facebook page is the exact same, Hunt for Ohio. Okay, so your approach to this, and one of the things you have on your card that you handed me is constituent outreach, define what it means to be a Republican mission, vision, and values. Yes, you sound a lot like my school board campaign.
Yeah, well,
like-minded people treasure and prize like-minded agendas.
Absolutely. And as you can see, also the one thing that I really wanted to stress in this is that being a Christian conservative, because the party needs to reclaim a moral foundation, and they need to get back to biblical and Christian principles.
Amen to that.
And we need to vet people that way. And if they're so, this is where we need to define what it is to be a Republican,
Yep.
and then hold them accountable to it. And if they're, for instance, if you're not pro-life, there's a party for you, and it's called the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So that's a big one for me. I've gotten several endorsements from End Abortion Ohio is one of them, and the Right to Life Action Coalition also has endorsed my campaign.
So how do you, and I ask you this because I have an answer in my own mind. It's the best answer I can come up with. I look at Donald Trump and I see what I perceive as a backing away from his pro-life agenda that he implemented in his first term as president. Thankfully, he put 3 great justices on the court, and they're going to be there a long time, hopefully. But I would like to see him be more willing to go out front with his pro-life stance that he's already he's established his political legacy with those 3 Supreme Court appointees. But now I don't see him standing behind that and advocating that, and it could be a political calculation or it could be a personal calculation. In your own mind and heart, defending the unborn, defending the weak, all that thing, do you have a problem with where Trump is on those particular issues right now? He's vastly superior to Biden and the Democrats.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And where I would say that is that I really wish he would have come out stronger and gave more support during the fight that we had this past November with the issue 1 and even issue 2. But really, Bruce, is that I'm concentrating on the local.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that we collectively look to the federal as trying to solve our problems. We need to reclaim it at the grassroots. And that's also what my campaign is about.
Couldn't agree more.
This is about grassroots, everyday people that aren't career getting involved. And we can all sit around and we meet and we talk and we complain. We need to put feet to our action. We need to put action to our words.
Yeah, and that's on the state central committee or wherever people are, wherever there's an opening and you're replacing somebody that you admire.
Yes.
He's not running again. But it's township trustees, it's city council positions, it's village council positions, it's school board positions. It's these offices that have great impact on our lives, like right here locally. Obviously, federal policy has impact, but locally, those are the places where you really can, as a voter, have impact, and you can, as somebody who serves as a public servant, have impact and have weight to better your local community.
Absolutely. And this is where, again, you can only take it to a certain degree, but this is where the power of nullification comes in, or the interposition of the lesser magistrate. I mean, not to get too esoteric here, but we do have the ability at the local level to say we're just not going to put up with this anymore.
Yeah. And we've got dangerous bills working their way through the Ohio House, one of which would take away local entities' ability to put tax initiatives on ballots, like local fire districts, local school boards. There's an agenda out there, sadly pushed by some Republican legislators who I'm guessing wouldn't pass the Shelby Hunt vetting test of candidates.
Correct.
Yes. Who say, all that ought to be controlled at the state level. Well, you know who's going to get control of that? The developers are, because they got the money to feather the pockets at the state level. I love your card that you're mailing to people that says Vote Hunt Central Committee, but it says Vote Hunt Christian Conservative. You're not afraid to stand behind that. I love that.
I'm not, because there's too many in the party that will proclaim to be a Christian in certain settings, but they won't proclaim Jesus' name in public.
Love
and again, it's not that I'm forcing, but I'm not going to deny my Savior.
Yeah, I mean, the most eloquent way I ever heard it put was by my friend Chris Spielman and his late wife Stephanie, who said, "We expose our faith to everyone. We don't impose it on anyone."
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with exposing your faith, and I love how you're doing that. Shelby Hunt is our guest. His website is hunt4ohio.org, Hunt, F-O-R, Ohio.org. His Facebook page is the same, Hunt for Ohio. He's going to be on the ballot March 19th. You get absentee ballots February 19th. You can get them if you want them. February 19th, and vote 30 days out from the primary. And
he's 21st.
Yeah, he's running for the Republican State Central Committee to represent Licking, Fairfield, and Perry County. You got about 20 seconds left. What's your final message you'd like to leave?
Okay. Also, I'd like just to mention that the way that this is structured, there's a male and a female representative. My running mate on the female side is Carrie Masterson.
Carrie Masterson. So there you are, Licking, Fairfield, and Perry County. I did you a public service right there. I introduced you to Shelby Hunt and Carrie Masterson, and they are the people you need to get out and vote for. Now when you look at your ballot, you'll know who they are. You'll know what they're doing. You know that they have the right mindset to vet candidates so that when you get your rate card in the mail and, you'll know that the people who are recommended have been vetted correctly. Shelby, thanks so much. Great to meet you, and thank you for coming in.
Thanks.